So you guys voted for short updates on what I'm working on for Cake International, as well as a long video. So I'm going to try and do both for you guys. So I was going to try and do it live, but then I thought actually watching me live is quite boring. Maybe I'll do some bits live, I don't know. So I was going to update you on this, but I haven't really done anything else on this. I have to remember the knife is stuck out of his head. So that's last time's Christmasaurus, which we're going to recycle, and it's going to become a dragon. So I still need to ice it. We've used like all the old paste and stuff. So we've been using the old fondant. Some of this is actually bits that have dropped off, like the Father Christmas and things. I've just re-microwaved it and reused it, which is pretty gross, but it's cheaper than opening new stuff. And it works okay. We just smooth it down with water. But like I say, I'm not going to update too much on that one now because I need to make a start on the other stuff for the collab work. So come through here. Excuse the mess, there is mess everywhere. This is what happens when I'm getting ready for Cake International. I'm so disorganized anyway, to be fair. But like everything ends up everywhere, and I end up with so many different things to do at the same time that everything just ends up super messy. So I think I've shown you guys this before. So for the collab, so we're doing the Sugar Screams one, which last year they did a really cool haunted house, and this year the haunted house is what's it called again? How do I not remember the name of it since I watch it and I enjoy the program?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. I forget like everyday words all the time. Is that better? Can you see? Oh,
we can
it's
see
very
that.
close. Very close. Yeah. I forget words. Stranger Things. So I was gonna keep it as a surprise, but I figure you could probably tell which of the guys I'm making from the images. Plus, they might not look like who they're meant to look like because, let's face it, realistic stuff is not my speciality. I prefer cartoony stuff, but this is a challenge. So we'll have a go at it. I really hope I don't let the rest of them down on a collab by what these are gonna look like at the end. We'll see. But yeah, just to kind of update you on where we are with it, what we've done so far. So they need to be on a big base at the bottom so that they don't fall over because they're going to be pretty top heavy. I think the idea with these guys is that at Cake International you can have a selfie with them, so it's a photo op with them. So I don't want them to fall on anyone. Hopefully they won't fall on anyone. I have to get myself a template first. So I've drawn on the wall. I wish I could say drawn them freehand, but I didn't. We found images online of the characters and I used a projector. Now I think I filmed video clips of that. I probably haven't shown you guys that yet, but when I create like the full video of the making, or I say a full video, it's not going to be really in depth. I'll probably talk less than this in it, so it'll be slightly less boring for you. There'll be images in there of how it's all done. So frames, I've tried to keep the frames as basic as possible. They're going to have a metal rod running through. And actually one thing I should say is they're not going to be cake because it's going to the cake show. We're still like a month away, or almost a month away. So that I don't have to do it really last minute, although technically now I'm getting to be quite last minute with this because I don't know how long they're going to take me to do. You don't want to use real cake because then I can do it a little bit more in advance and I don't have to rush and worry about the cake going off. Also on top of that, it's a lot of cake and it doesn't get eaten at Cake International, and for like health and safety reasons, when you make a giant cake like this, they usually don't get eaten. So we're going to do it in polystyrene to save on food waste. I try and recycle all the old polystyrene dummies, so I've had to order some new ones as well this time, guys, but I've got all kinds of random shapes, look, in here. A lot of the old like wedding ones, and I use these a lot for just making like my cake toppers on. So we're going to use them, and we're going to start with the legs up. So we're going to start bottom up, building them. Like I said, I'll try and use the old ones. I'm going to drop these everywhere. I've dropped them all over already today. Usually I would take the icing off them first. Well, that one, not that you can see now, it melted in the sun. That was a cake that I did with Emily Hankins. I went to go do a one-to-one with her ages ago. That was really good. At one point had a nice picture on the front. But yeah, probably need to strip that one of icing just because when we put these on, so these are going to go on here. I am going to have to either like drill holes or use a polystyrene cutter, which is like a heated wire cutter, so it cuts through. It smells pretty bad, so I'll have to do it with all the doors and things open. And I do have like a mask to wear because of the fumes. I usually forget to wear it, and then wonder why I have a headache at the end of the day. But yeah, you need that to help you cut the pieces. It's definitely easier with it. It's quite messy. So yeah, basically when we start, I want polystyrene dummies that are at least the width, or as close as I can to the width of the, what's the word, template. I was going to say silhouette, template, in the background. I don't think he's going to have, to be honest, we kind of made up the legs because I didn't find a nice picture of his legs. But he's pretty tall and slender, so I don't think he's going to have overly big legs. So I think these ones are like 5-inch dummies. No, these ones are 4. Are they 4 or 5? I can't tell. Sizing is not like a strong point of mine. But what I'm going to do is these are going to be built up like this. His knees don't actually look that big. If I think, well, actually his calf's going to get a little bit bigger, I might put in like a slightly wider one. Maybe not this one because it's uneven at the top. Although I can fill gaps with little bits of icing. The closer I can get these to sort of the total width of the body means the less icing and modelling chocolate I am going to have to pack in there. And I do need to say thank you to Renshaws because they have sent me some fondant and modelling paste that I can use for decorating these with, and also some coloured powders as well. So we'll be using those, but not just yet. I'm not ready for that stage just yet. So yeah, I realise I'm rambling a lot, sorry guys, to give you just a bit of an update. But yeah, so these are going to be built up. As you can see, I have had to buy some new ones as well as the old ones. I've probably told you that already. But we're just going to build them up. So, you know, when I'm doing it, I was thinking, oh, that's simple. I can just build up these on here to the height. They're going to want to get a little bit wider as we go further up where his shorts are. I don't know if I need to go wider just yet. Also, the more polystyrene I've got inside, or the closer I can get to like sort of the outside edge with it, I mean, I've already said the less like fondant and stuff we're gonna have to cover it with, but also the less weight there's gonna be on there, and it saves on wasting like fondant as well if we don't have to use as much of it. Oh, aeroplane going over. I don't know if you can still hear me when the aeroplane goes over or not. I think that's ready for that size just yet. They'll all be cut then to size and stuff. Do we think we need to be going a little bit bigger maybe as I come up here? So what we have to think about is that he's very straight, he's very rigid. I'll have to cut into these so that I can thread them on. So I can either push them like this way around this, or if I'd have put them on beforehand, we can pull this piece off, which is going to support the top of the body, and I can kind of slide them down onto it. And I haven't attached them yet, but it's just so I can kind of run through it really quickly. So these will pull off, and if you're wondering why this is here, like obviously if it was a real cake, you would have more than one layer, and obviously if it was a real cake, we would food safe it. Because I'm not putting cake on here, I haven't worried about covering the layers of wood in anything. But yeah, that would, you'd wrap it with like, you can buy like a silver like cake foil, although to be honest I haven't been able to get hold of that for ages, so I end up having to use like aluminium foil, or you know, like this stuff that cake boards are kind of covered in, to cover all that to make it food safe. But we're not going to do that today. Yeah, so you would have several of those, no wider than what like a body part is, so that the cake wouldn't crush on itself. But we're not going to worry because it's not a real cake. So from the side, what I do need to think about is I'm going to bring Johnny around here. Johnny's kindly filming for me today. Nice boring job for him. So if you think about how a leg would be, I'm going to have to show you my leg for an example. So it's not the finest example of a leg, but this is in a straight line. So you could probably, I'm going to knock them over with my bum. You could probably get a straight line through your leg. So you would have to probably look at images online. So at the moment I've just got my images of the front view, and what I'll do is I'll Google some images of what they look like from the side, because I want to make sure that instead of my figure being like really upright, which tends to look a little bit less realistic, then I need to place my dummies so that they're not completely in a straight line, because you can see my leg kind of moves. So for example, like when we're doing this, when it goes on, they're going to want to come and knocking everything over. It won't fall over like this when I start inserting it on. But can you see, like, it will have to start to move back a little bit, and then forward, and then back a little bit. Generally, most guys' bums don't stick out as much as ladies' ones do. Maybe not as much as mine anyway. But if you, like, obviously not many of you are going to probably make things on a large scale, but it's just something to bear in mind when you are making them, is like, just don't keep the leg a complete straight thing like that that's rigid. I forgot to mention, I know I said like I did order them, because I order these a lot as well as you did the old ones. We do actually sell them on like the Zoe's Fancy Cakes website, so if anybody does need them, these ones are ideal obviously for your wedding cakes. You don't have to cut them down, you know, you can use them as the shape they are. Then these are great for if you are making like dummy cakes and just for display for your customers. And I forgot to say that that is usually what these are for. So yeah, I usually have quite a few of these knocking about, like I say. Okay, so I think I worked out the height wrong, so I've got the guys at work stood next to them to see if their heights are right, because is it Dustin? Johnny's remeasuring for me, since yeah, I can't tell. I seem to be taller than him, and I think that my height is actually similar but smaller to what Dustin is.
So you're taller than Dustin?
I'm not taller than 5'4". I feel like you need to hang on. Let's see.
You've got your shoot trainers on.
Well, still, that's not much height. Yeah, but he'll have trainers on. Okay, let's see. Maybe
You've grown. You're 5'4" and a bit and a half.
That must be my trainers. But actually, I'd never even
You
thought
grow
then.
when you get older.
So their height, like I've googled their height online.
I'm 6'3".
I haven't. Yeah, you are 6'3". I didn't take into account that they would be wearing shoes. So like shoes wouldn't include your height, would they?
No.
Okay, so I because I can't work anything out, I've printed off the leg shape, you know, so I said about where it sticks out in certain points to help when we're putting the dummies. So that's like a side shot, front. And then I also forgot that I've tried to make them in a stance. Yeah, so worked out that the thing would go down the middle, but that would be if your legs were dead bolt upright, which they look like here. But obviously, like if you stood with these legs apart, it's just a nice shot of the fire extinguisher. Like, your legs go like that. Why don't I find this kind of thing easy? Oh, maybe I'm overthinking this leg stuff, because they're gonna be behind the ice cream counter. Need to put these together, maybe have one in the middle actually. For anybody wondering why I'm doing this, like in the little space of hallway that's a bit messy, it's the only bit of wall space I had that was clear to put this on.